Within the school, we've got quite a community of knowledge sharing.
Having connection with different people outside university would be very useful.
Externally, I think it's quite difficult to find out what's happening.
Episode 4, A New Hope. No, wrong show. Episode 4, How Do We Share?
I love it. Yes, welcome to episode 4 of the sustainability series of Technically Scotland. In this episode, we are looking into how the work is shared, how best practice is shared across institutions across Scotland. A lot of sustainability work doesn't happen in isolation. It develops through conversations, collaborations, and learning from each other.
In this episode, we'll hear again from Mike, Mira, Abby, Elisa, Christine, Marianne, and Zephyr about their experiences of sharing best practice.
Within the school, we've got quite a community of knowledge sharing, and I work really closely with a bunch of incredible technicians who've worked here for decades. So knowledge sharing does happen within the institution.
In many cases, that sharing is informal and is built into day-to-day working relationships.
In the building that I work in, there's a few different teaching labs within the building, and so there's a different kind of floors, and we work closely together, which is quite nice. So we're more likely to share like sustainability tips between the floors.
Sometimes it's as simple as conversations across labs or between teams.
Our departments are quite small, so there's maybe about 2 to 4 technicians in each one. So we can discuss ideas quite freely, and our departments can talk officially in our Green Lab group meeting as well.
Sometimes there are structures in place, like the Green Lab groups that Christine mentioned just then, that help create space for these conversations. And that sharing can also extend beyond individual labs, which connect people across departments and buildings.
Not only within our building, what I find really useful, that now I have opportunity to discuss with people outside our building, from another buildings within the school, so it's quite beneficial, yes.
Opportunities like audits or cross-team initiatives can open up new ways of learning, and through that, networks begin to form, making it easy to share ideas and build on what's already working.
I've been an auditor for sustainability practices for the awards, and it's been great to look at people who are in my college that don't necessarily overlap with us from a day-to-day kind of time. So people more focused on the medical aspects or the animal aspects, to see what practices they have and to kind of learn from what they're doing, as well as them learning from how we're doing it.
During the Lab Award program, I attended few audits across our school, so I had a chance to see different approaches, met people, make contacts was super useful, and making a network and sharing good practices or good ideas.
And I think that's been one of the best things that's come out of the Sustainability Awards, is that it's kind of linearized a lot of paths that we were taking, and it's kind of globalized our efforts into a much more succinct kind of pathway to achieve kind of high levels of sustainability.
So within institutions, there are already strong foundations for sharing best practice through those conversations, collaborations, and growing networks. But what happens when that sharing moves then beyond that institution?
While there are strong foundations for sharing within institutions, many of our guests spoke about the value and the challenge of sharing beyond them.
Having connection with different people outside university would be very useful.
For many of the technicians we spoke to, these connections are something that they're actively trying to build.
Mostly around if we're in like the Scottish Technician Network, and it's really having those kind of conversations at the moment. And as you'll know, Charli, obviously our upcoming conference for sustainability.
So opportunities are growing, often through networks, events and communities that bring people together. But one thing that we did note is that these are opportunities that the technicians are creating themselves. They're not external opportunities.
these networks that I'm talking about are probably the most important way that we have to share best practice, share what's going on. I will give a big shout out to the humble EAUC, which has been going for 25 years, bringing sustainability professionals together. And in these sort of communities of practice where you can hear about people's projects and what have they been doing, and you get so many ideas. You can sort of see, okay, well, over at Edinburgh they're doing this. Why can't we do that? Over in Aberdeen they do this, and so even just within a Scottish context, you can keep it fresh somehow, and also encourage yourself that you're not the only one who's thinking about this and doing this, and you don't have to reinvent a wheel every time you want to change something. Other people have been doing this.
For those involved, those spaces can be invaluable.
Commonly, I preach to outreach events about sustainability and things like that to the public in general, about kind of sustainability in their homes or what kind of science related to sustainability we're doing. Often it's a common occurrence in our kind of internet kind of conferences that we attend, where we're kind of always going on about recycling of materials, metals, or kind of technologies and things like that. So we do, at the very academic end, we do liaise a lot with other people looking at sustainability practices, whether that be things like recovering kind of heat from waste or turning waste into much more useful items and things like that.
And of course, sharing doesn't just have to happen within higher education. It can extend to wider communities too.
A platform for sharing with different institutions would be great, because there's so many different colleges and schools within each university, and we must do things so differently.
Events and conferences can open up those opportunities to connect, compare and learn. One example of this is the TechNext Scotland conference in Edinburgh, bringing technicians together to share best practice, highlight their contributions to sustainability and build networks across institutions.
I'm hoping this will be a start. Other technicians in our school and some former technicians have done a fantastic job doing conferences on sustainability. Other universities have invited us to speak with them about getting their own sustainability initiatives started. I'm hoping this will open a door to sharing of practice with more technicians.
And while these opportunities do exist, they're not always easy to access.
I think also we're one of three where has a print and dye lab? Edinburgh, Aberdeen, Dundee. So there isn't, in the country, there isn't that many spaces, and trying to bring us all together to kind of talk about this. I think there's like 4 people who have the same job as me in the country. So I'd be delighted to hear from them and meet them. And as I'm new to this post, I think that's something that I'll be kind of championing and taking forward. I think we can always do more to meet each other and to talk about practice.
And in some cases, it's simply about finding the right people, which often takes time.
Again, it's time consuming, and that's first challenge. Outside the university, it's even more difficult. I have to search. I have to find a way how to connect with sustainability people outside. Of course, a very good source for me is LinkedIn. There are lots of information, lots of good people with same ideas and same mentality, I would say, in sustainability. But I wish I could do this more effectively and brings good ideas back to our institutes, which now I'm looking for a way how to do this. Yeah.
So while there's a clear appetite to share best practice beyond institutions, building those connections can still take time, effort, and access to the right spaces.
So what's getting in the way of sharing more widely? Our guests also spoke about some of the challenges that can make this more difficult. You probably won't be surprised to hear that time and capacity came up again and again and again.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. It's lack of resources and manpower. And and it strongly depends on time of each individuals.
I think it's just about carving time. Also, just like how to manage making sure the workshop is safe and being here and guiding students and there's equipment in this lab and in my workshop that if I'm not here, the students can't use. So it's a bit of a tricky one. Like right now, I've locked myself away in the dye lab, but it does mean that a student can't use this facility. So if I'm not here, it directly affects the students, which is obviously not what we want. So
I think for all of us, our day-to-day responsibilities come first, and access to these opportunities is not always straightforward.
Yeah, I feel like unless you go to conferences, you don't really get to hear what other universities are doing, or unless you know someone at a different university.
Time and finance, honestly. We'd all love to go to conferences, but it's not practical for all the time or both. So
sometimes you might not have always been in the past involved in those kind of conversations or those types of networks. I think for me as well, it's about me trying to encourage my technicians to join and be part of those groups as well, because I don't want it to feel like it's just me kind of pulling out all the information all the time for them, and it's really just encouraging them to also become involved and be part of those networks for their own development going forwards as well.
And of course, there's always the challenge of navigating what's already out there.
Sometimes it feels like there's an oversaturation of schemes and accreditation to keep track of.
So while the willingness to share is there, it quite often comes down to time, access, and finding the right spaces to connect.
Despite the challenges, there was a clear sense from all our guests that sharing best practice is not just helpful, but essential.
There are networks that are there for the kind of everyday things. And I just really recommend them for, join up to any of these networks that you can. There'll be people there who've either got the same problem that you've got or who've fixed it, or who can tell you why it can't be fixed until technology changes, and you'll just save time.
It's about learning from each other and building on what already exists. Those networks can make a real difference and create a two-way exchange of ideas, making it easier to find solutions and move forward more quickly.
You might have the answers somebody else is needing. So
I had the chance to see different approaches, met people, make contacts was super useful.
To see what practices they have and to kind of learn from what they're doing, as well as them learning from how we're doing it.
I feel that it's been invaluable having those contacts at Glasgow and other HEIs from my time there. I think that has really helped us at UWS to gain a little bit more recognition as well.
Sharing best practice doesn't always come easily. It takes time, effort, and the right opportunities. But it's already happening through conversations, networks, and communities. And as those connections continue to grow, so does the potential to make sustainability work go further. Because no one is doing this work alone, and they don't have to.
So to finish up episode 4, here is some advice from Marianne Pringle on how you could get involved in sharing best practices that go on at your institution, or just how to get involved in sustainability efforts in your workplace in general.
I think using those past experiences that you have always helps. I think just trying to be involved, trying to get yourself into networks to be able to share those experiences. Because I think when you bring them back to your own HEI and you say to them, this is what other places are doing, we'll be left behind if we don't follow suit, then I think that always gives a real good stage for change. So I think just trying to be involved in as many initiatives as you can, and just trying to gain recognition for your team when they are doing it, and whether that's through your senior leadership teams or whether it's institution level, but just trying to push for recognition and credit for the work that's been done.
In our next episode, we will be looking at what sustainability-related training our guests have had and what they think would be useful going forward.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Technically Scotland. We'd like to say a huge thank you to our guests for this episode and for the rest of this series, and also to the Technician Commitment Collaboration Fund for their support as we bring this podcast together.